that trauma has come up in my childhood, and it was so hurtful. It permeated through me, and I felt that rage and anger in a way that was very hurtful, and I just made myself really small. So as a result, I just became a master at avoiding that emotion within myself as well. I remember once I was being guided into a past experience in my childhood, and the feeling that I should have been feeling was anger, but I couldn't find the words for it. Actually, it wasn't the feeling. I was feeling shame and guilt and small and tiny. And when I was able to finally step out of being that child and look at it from an adult's perspective, I realized what I should have been feeling was anger. Hi, I'm Robin.
And I'm Reya. Robin and I have been spending a whole year calling in the goddess. We've been inviting qualities of the feminine every month that we wish to expand in ourselves.
We'd love for you to join us on this journey and enjoy the magic with us.
Arriving here in this moment, being fully present with you, with myself, and inviting the goddess into this space, into our hearts, into our expression. May she speak through us. May we honor her in our words, in our deeds, in our hearts.
Yay!
Yes, and here we are. And here
Happy
she is.
new moon in Taurus.
Hmm.
Ooh, who is that goddess in the background
Yes, this is
there?
Artemis.
She's
She's holding a bow and she's looking away as she's drawing the bow. And she's so peaceful. It's amazing to have the combination of pure peace with the act of drawing a bow, which is, potentially a deadly act, but you can interpret it in so many ways, and probably in every circumstance it will tell us something different. But it speaks to me of certainty. She doesn't even have to look. She has her direction.
She trusts.
She trusts
knows where
that
it's
the
gonna go.
arrow is going to fly exactly where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that moment, I actually just had this flashback of a moment when I was with a bow and arrow. First time I was using it and realizing how
As you say casually, sorry, just first time I was using a bow and arrow, which I do on a regular basis, and I believe it.
I have this tendency of trying a lot of things, okay?
Okay.
I grew up in a household where my dad was like, let's try surfing, let's try riding motorbikes, let's climb mountains,
I
let's
love it.
jump out of airplanes and bungee jump. So bows and arrows were also part of it. And it requires you to be so still. It really, really does. So when you started explaining that and saying that, having to have that stillness, that trust, that, yeah, it's almost could be potentially a deadly act. But in that moment, it's so much about connecting with your breath and just being really calm, because if you're shaking or whatever, it won't work as well. So yeah, it really is. It is a very meditative sport for sure, because you just have to be so present, so still, so connected with yourself in that moment. So yeah, that's a beautiful, I guess, image to start out with for today's session.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And very connected to the quality that I chose.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Because it
Yes.
sounds a little bit like it's also connected to the quality I chose. That's why I wonder why you chose.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we will reveal all at the end.
Yes.
We're still, until the end of this podcast, we are still in our quality of this month, which was magnetism. And
For me, it was rage.
mm,
Although your quality was definitely showing up a lot in my life over this moon cycle, for sure.
yes, maybe it tells us that attraction is stronger than repulsion. Since
Yeah,
since rage is a push quality and magnetism is a pull.
yeah.
And I feel like rage has its place, the fuel for the fire,
Hmm.
but ultimately love is more powerful.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely dominated a lot more than
Mhm.
rage.
Yeah.
Rage did, and anger, I guess, did show up during this period, but not so frequently. I guess it wasn't. Yeah, I also I feel like I flow more from a place of calmness and stillness and peace lately than
Mhm.
a place of
Mhm.
which I guess I wasn't being tested so much, which is great. But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
did have a few of those moments, and when it did come up, I did let it surface. But yeah, not very frequently. I definitely felt a lot more magnetism over this
Mm.
last moon cycle.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
it was so good. It definitely it was fantastic. I will say that the magnetism month has been the best yet. And I'm so looking forward to that quality continuing because as we said last time,
Yeah.
it's not just a one-off. It doesn't stop when the month stops. It's
Yeah.
still going to be present and it's still going to grow, and that's so exciting. I cannot tell you how excited I am for that because I've seen huge change this month. I mean, can you tell? Like, it's
I mean, besides that, yeah, as we spoke about last time, you're just radiating with light. And this week when I saw you as well, not only were you radiating, you were sparkling.
yes,
Your
exactly.
entire body was sparkling.
I covered myself. And isn't it interesting that I waited an entire year to wear that outfit? There was not one occasion that I could wear it, or well, I could have worn it any time, but I didn't. And then I chose to wear it actually in a place that you could consider fairly incongruous. I looked like a showgirl, but there was no show. And yet it did fit perfectly. And my intention with it was, I kind of jokingly said, because there were three of us organizing this soiree, let's say. And as we were planning, they were saying, "What are you going to wear?" And I said, "Oh, it's going to be outrageous. It needs to be outrageous." And ooh, which contains the word rage.
Yeah, it does.
Uh,
Outrageous.
outrageous. That's another whole layer to the concept of rage that I didn't even think. We never think about. But maybe you can cause outrage. You can cause the fire to be stoked in others. Um, and that's an aspect that we didn't consider at all. I mean, we're looking at it from within, what rage
Mm,
are we expressing or experiencing or suppressing? But what does it mean when we trigger someone else's rage? Um, and how do we navigate that? And as a woman, it's one of the scariest things I think that causes us to stay small,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I saw this devastating phrase used the other day on a video I was watching, that man is a woman's apex predator. And it was so outrageous. And I don't actually agree. I think we're here to be in harmony of feminine, masculine, but there is this reality that male violence exists and
Mm,
that many women, including me, don't know about you, but have experienced it in their and will experience it in their life. And there is very much this sense in which we have a fear of triggering it, of looking a certain way or acting a certain way, being too much, being too bold, because the consequence could be deadly.
yeah, yeah.
So the, I don't really have an answer to. It's almost in a way, it feels like too much to ask of women to just be bold anyway, right? Because then you're saying, well, all the responsibility is on us. Oh. The sound. It's literally like an alarm that that door buzzer rings sounds the alarm. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hadn't thought about it from that perspective as much. I guess there are times when I have experienced that, and actually now that I think about it, like men's rage, and it makes you immediately kind of become small because it doesn't feel safe. And I'm actually thinking about very specific scenario of when I was a child and somebody shouted at me and it just shrunk up into this little ball. And it's because of that that I've always, I guess, I've essentially moved away from anger as a form of expression for myself.
Mm,
That's where that trauma has come up in my childhood, and it was so hurtful. It permeated through me, and I felt felt that rage and anger in a way that was very hurtful, and I just made myself really small. So as a result, I just avoided. I became a master at avoiding that emotion within myself as well. I remember once I did it. I was doing a therapy session, and in it I was being guided into a past experience in my childhood, and the feeling that I should have been feeling was anger, but I couldn't find the words for it. I was just well, actually it wasn't the feeling. I was feeling shame and guilt and small and tiny. And when I was able to finally step out of being that child and look at it from an adult's perspective, I realized what I should have been feeling was anger. But because I've
mhm.
suppressed that emotion so much my entire life,
Yeah.
it didn't come out naturally. Eventually, as the adult version, I was able to see it and understand it and then lean into it. And so in actually in the last year, and that's why anger was something I'd put down as one of the qualities, because I also want to reframe it in a way that it is, as we spoke about, it's like clearing, it's allowing for hyper focus, just direction. There's a lot of power in it. It's a movement forward that comes from it. And it's not all just negative, but obviously from that perspective of a young child, that's how it was interpreted. And then over the years was just suppression, 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 just to a point that I bypassed that emotion and went straight to like shame and guilt. And, oh, did I create the situation? Why was it that anger was and
Yes.
rage was
Yeah.
something that I'd put down? Actually was really this deep seated experience, I guess, from childhood that got me to start making myself smaller. Yeah, because of that, yeah, hyper sort of masculine, I guess, shadow masculine quality that
Yeah.
manifested around me, unfortunately. And I know these things happen with lot of us, a lot of kids, with adults
Mhm.
not being
Mhm.
aware of the impact that they have on us. And I've realized a very sensitive child. So it did end up making me super independent, super strong, super lean into all the masculine qualities. And that's why I'm on this journey of calling in the goddess and embracing all my feminine qualities now.
I love how you just told this epic narrative in about 5 seconds. The reason we're here having this conversation is because I couldn't deal with rage.
Yeah.
So that's actually quite foundational and important. And I don't think a tangent at all. I think I'm very grateful that you shared that. And I'm sure other women are grateful that you shared that. Um, it needs to be spoken about. And as you were talking about it, the question in my mind was I felt somewhat perplexed about because I know that you've been leaning so heavily into your masculine, and yet you were talking about the masculine not being safe. And so it just made me wonder why you would then embody that. But I suppose maybe you were keeping yourself safe in a way
Mm,
that you
mm.
were, you know, y- y- very much drawing on your masculine to give you that sense of having,
Control.
yeah,
Honestly, that's all. A lot of it just boils down to control of the
yeah,
situation.
yeah. And it's so interesting. It's so interesting because I think it's emblematic of the experience of the unhealed masculine then creates and almost demands the expression of the unhealed masculine. And
Mm.
so it's this endless cycle until we see it, right? And not just in you, but in men. And so this is bizarre, but I had full body chills in that moment. I have to mention it also because we're in a goddess conversation and the body matters so much. But I very rarely get chills from head to toe, legs, arms, everywhere. So I feel like she's definitely speaking with us. And I think it's very, yeah, it's important to note that cycle and to understand,
Mm.
okay, it's actually a protective mechanism that's at play. And
Yeah.
even though the expression of it feels so toxic and so harmful in ways, sometimes not in direct ways, sometimes it's just we're harming ourselves by being in that mode and pushing ourselves too hard. And
Yeah. Well, no, there is something so specific. So this
yeah,
book found
yeah.
its way to me.
What? Wow.
A friend of mine saw it in a bookstore, a charity bookstore, and then she was coming to my house that day.
Mm.
But there's something so specific to what we're talking about. And also, as I was thinking about this new moon, what I'm calling in and having just started this new role, I've been thinking a lot about the masculine
Yeah,
energies
yeah.
because I am so aware of the fact that I've lent so heavily into them. And particularly when it comes to my professional life. And there's definitely fruits of that I can celebrate that has like brought me success. But then there were parts of it that resulted in me burning out twice.
Mm.
And now I'm getting shivers. I was reading this. Where is it? I want to find it because it's so relevant to this, and I want to read it out because it results. Yeah, here it is. There we go. So it talks about Athena, the golden heroine, which is linked to the solar plexus chakra. And I'm just going to read out this passage quickly because it's so on point about what
Yes,
the last,
go for it.
so yeah. So
Don't
this
feel
goddess,
you need to don't feel you need
yeah,
to
no,
be quick.
I was also just buying myself time so I could figure out if I was reading the right one.
Read it with expression, with presence. Go for it.
Okay, so this goddess archetype is the most masculine because she governs our rational mind. She's the part of us that wants to prove our worth by achieving some measure of success. If we have low self-worth, no amount of success will be sufficient to compensate for our wound. This often leads to women operating out of shadow Athena and becoming workaholics.
Mm. Hmm.
I just pointed at myself for anyone who wasn't watching the video. When our inner Athena is functioning well, we're assertive, organized, happy for others to succeed, and committed to taking calculated risks to achieve our goals. The key to strengthening this aspect lies in acknowledging consistent effort via a step-by-step plan, having a life outside of work so our job doesn't define us. Those who are married to the job often incur illness as a wake-up call. Burnouts, in my case, twice.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was just like when I read that, it just resonated so much because I do sort of operate in human design. My solar plex is filled as well, and it is a space that I operate from. It's also linked to a lot of where my gut and intuition, and it just resonated because that has been a huge part of my journey over the last like decade, has been leaning so heavily into the masculine, particularly in my career. And as a result of, yeah, I guess the shadow elements of it, working too much and burning myself out. And so as I'm going into this new job, what I'm really like, this is so meaningful for me and in terms of like the work that we're doing around calling in the divine feminine and the qualities of the feminine, but like ensuring that I continue to embody those, not only like in my personal life, but also then in my professional life, and bringing that into that environment of just trusting. This is when you start a new job, that there's self-doubt and I'm not worth it, and I'm not good enough. All these things sort of come up, and just trying to like prove yourself constantly. I don't need to, like, like I have the abilities. I'm fully capable. Like, that's why I'm there. And I don't have to kill myself on the job in order to sort of prove that. I don't need other people's validation. So that's something that's going to be very important for me. This new moon cycle is just really continuing to embody all these feminine qualities of trust, surrender,
Yeah.
and not getting into a state of like control, trying to get validation, external validation, doubting my self-worth,
Yeah.
all those qualities that I guess in the past I would have stepped into a new role and they would be popping up a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's an incredible statement of intent, and really here to support you in that. We'll be very interested to hear how you're doing with that, holding you accountable on the in the coming weeks.
I just remembered something. Your book.
Oh
Talking about holding accountable.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, I do have something to show you. I said I would do it and I did it.
I'm
So,
so proud of you. That is so
isn't it
beautiful.
stunning?
It is so stunning.
I love her. I mean, this is
It is beautiful. Yay!
yes,
Great. So now we can all read it.
exactly. No, I'm so grateful that that we made this pledge, but also I was just so determined. And that came from the quality of will from royalty last month.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I have yet to kind of intuit what magnetism means with this, but actually the fact that she was born in magnetism month hopefully indicates there's going to be, like lots of attraction
Yeah.
around the book. Um, but it was really the will, that piece fell into place for me, and it wasn't even an effort. And this book, like I said, has been 90% done for a couple of years, which is quite embarrassing for me to reveal. But I think we all have those things
It
that,
just wasn't ready to be born yet. It
well,
was just waiting for the right time.
exactly. Also that. But part of it was that the resistance would come up when I would sit down to work on it. And no matter how, like to some extent, the book just flowed, and it was a book I never intended to write. And that's also why I felt so strongly about finishing it, is that it felt like something that needed to exist and that was coming through me for a reason, and that reflected my whole journey, and everything that I'd learned, and was just a pure kind of sharing from the heart of, and from a sense of, yes, there is something I can say that will be valuable and useful, because that was also something that always held me back from writing or finishing, was the sense that, well, what claim do I have to your attention, and should I make that claim? And it's something I'm always very thoughtful about and have been. Anyway, suddenly the resistance just fell away, and I could sit there and just do it. And maybe that's partly the magnetism, because magnetism as a force is kind of effortless, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it should be in its nature, it should be effortless. So it just happens. And I quite like that as an additional quality of magnetism. It seems effortless, but then there's been a lot of work behind it,
Mm.
right? So you don't just show up magnetic.
Yeah, no.
You, you've you've done the work to become that person, and that presence. I don't even like to use person anymore, or like, it's too restrictive. So, hmm? I mean,
Yeah, very
it
true.
is. It is. So as a presence, and the same thing with the book, that it was those 3 years of work that then got me to the place where I could just effortlessly birth it. Yeah, so I'm so delighted. The whole time that I was doing this and getting it printed and sorting all that out and figuring out how you format it and all that admin, I just thought I'm gonna do this and I will have lived up to my promise, and that
hun-
felt like
I'd forgotten. Like, and then all of a sudden it just,
me too, me too. I forgot it until I said the word accountable, and obviously,
yeah, exactly.
again. Well, this is the goddess at work. It's not- um, but thank and our partnership at work, our exchange, is so beautiful, and I was so delighted. Actually, it was even better because I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was so much better. I don't
It
know.
was because in that moment when you looked at me, I was like, oh no, she didn't do it. And then
Exactly. Um, and I love how that also teaches us, because I'm someone like you who really needed to be in control, likes to deliver, prides myself on delivering, on being organized and not making mistakes, and mistakes being something I have to avoid at all costs because it, reflects how actually I'm have no value. um, and here's a beautiful lesson in forgetting, which normally I'd feel was a mistake. Oh, how could I forget? Why wasn't I prepared? Why wasn't I thinking about this the whole time? Had the book right here with me, ready to show you. And no, actually, completely forgot I'd even done it. And because of that, I felt so much more pleasure.
yeah, out of the experience of like sharing it.
Gosh, so much pleasure. Yes, I've got it. Oh my goodness, I get to share this with you. And maybe, actually, what I will also say is that I think the forgetting was part of me going through a cycle also with this book. And like I say, our creations are so valuable because our most direct growth is through our creations. When the book arrived and I had the box and I was about to open it, I had a wave of imposter feeling,
Yeah.
and I just felt somehow deflated. I didn't have a feeling of excitement. I had a feeling of dread. Is it really good enough? Is it, you know? Do-
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, yeah, this is also imposter syndrome is a great, great topic. It so aligns with also what I
yeah.
was saying around starting a new job, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so
Yes.
you felt all of that
So
coming
I
up.
felt I felt all of that, and then I went through basically a 2-week process that of unrelated, I mean related and unrelated, not consciously, but there was this intense energy in the last 2 weeks, affirmed by many people actually, that like some final remains of things were coming up extra intensely to be fully seen and released one last time.
Wow. Now, shivers, shivers, because I have been feeling that energy, but I didn't realize that it was something bigger.
Yes. It's
Okay.
massive. It's massive. And yeah, I went very, very low at one point. And at the same and had so many strong physical effects that I felt almost nauseous at times with how powerfully this stuff was coming up. And what I realized just now with this whole thing with the book is that the forgetting was necessary. The forgetting was a part of that process of actually I'm fully releasing that self, that and the origins of that imposter feeling and that doubt, and moving into certainty and worthiness and sovereignty and magnetism. And actually when I, and it was wonderful to feel the excitement now in this moment with you.
Yeah.
First time I felt the excitement about it.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for sharing that with me and to everyone who's
Yes.
listening to the podcast.
But your energy, your presence is so much part of that. Is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Which reminds me about your soiree, by the way. I was bouncing off the
Yes.
walls. Wow.
Yeah.
So much amazing. I mean, I've been calling in also community here in London, coming back. I was sort of like in a transitionary phase and I wasn't sure if I was going to be staying or not. And now I'm like, I am rooted here in London. This is
You're
home for now.
staying. Stay.
Home for now. But wow, I mean, that room of people are the most electric, interesting. I was bouncing off the walls, having so much fun with every single conversation I was
Yes.
having. I can talk to you. I can talk to you. Oh wow, wow, you do. I was I was in heaven. I had it was another one of those days where I don't know if I have that much energy for going out and being social.
Yeah.
And then I got there and then I was initially just thinking I'll stay for like an hour, just go up. And then at the end I couldn't even leave. I kept saying everyone's like, you said you were leaving. Are you going? And I'm like, I swear I'm
Oh,
leaving.
but
Am I leaving?
but yes, yes, I know exactly that feeling. Um, thank you for being there. And when you said heaven, I was so delighted because actually that was a little bit of heaven.
Yeah, it really,
No,
really was.
it really that's the intention. It's these are the people who are creating heaven on earth
Yeah.
through who they are, through the love that they share.
Through your magnetism as well, you just brought all those people into that room. It
Yes.
was
Yes.
beautiful.
And that brings us to let's actually talk about magnetism and what happened because we haven't yet.
No.
And even when you mentioned my outfit, I think we need to flash it up on the screen.
Yes, totally. We totally need
We
to see this
definitely do.
outfit.
Because what now that I'm thinking about it, the patterns on it and the individual little silver sparkle on black was so like the patterns you get with, magnetic those little, like, let's say iron filings when you do the
Yeah,
experiment at
yes, when
school
they
and
go.
you see, and it does this and it forms all these patterns. It completely was that. It was
Yes.
just, and yes, that outfit drew in huge amounts of like positivity. It
Mm.
wasn't, it wasn't necessarily that give me all the attention. It was actually, and what I was starting to say earlier was an act of giving of, like I was saying to my co-organizers, even if there's nothing else worth being there for at the party, it will be worth it for my outfit. Right. That's the intention. I want to show up as my best self, shining so that people enjoy that.
Yeah.
And so it's very much a giving. um, but definitely there was magnetism in the fact that every single person I invited was so excited to be there.
Mm.
It was, and they were saying, "Oh, one one of my friends was actually invited to press night at the Old Vic, some really serious event with serious people." And and he said to me, he's like, "Oh, I need to blow this off and come to your party because I just like the opportunity is too good to miss." And yeah, and it was the first time I'd organized anything like this in London, even in all the years that I've lived in London.
I can't believe that. You need to do more of these.
Well, and we will, and we definitely will, we definitely will. But there was definitely magnetism at play also in
Mm.
that sense of, oh, wow, okay. People do actually want to show up and they do trust that I will offer them something that they value.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know
Mhm.
what I love the most about it is that I was able to just be so authentically who I am
Yes. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
what was complete strangers. People I'd met for the first time, and I was just able to I mean,
Yes.
I started telling people about my very intense dream and went deep into all the Zulu traditional
Oh,
stuff and beliefs, and
fantastic. Yes.
no one blinked an eye.
Yeah.
Everyone was
Yeah.
so open, curious, caring, held space. It was so the contrast of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
versus the experience I told you with that guy that I had been seeing and his how he was just like, like
You should
it's
have brought,
just
if you had brought that sage with you and saged people there, they would have been like, yes, give it to me.
such a different light and dark type of polar opposite yin and yang experience, having come from 2 weeks before that environment to being in this room of these absolute strangers who just were like
Yes.
absolutely heart open, receiving, receptive, curious, like just it was so beautiful. It was just so refreshing to be able to just not have to hold back and just
Yes.
be
Yes.
myself authentically and not feel like I would be judged. It was just, and that's why I say that space that you guys were able to create and curate, it was just like, and the souls that were like attracted to it was just so beautiful. Because
Yes.
it's so unique to find something like that. And yeah, it's just testimony to to you guys as the organizers and the people that, gravitate towards you because that, yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh,
Absolute alchemy and
yes.
such a great space. Like, yeah. So thank you.
Exactly. Oh, my love. Everything for you. For you. This is your world. We're just
Yeah.
serving you. Yet I'm so delighted by that description. And I think that even though it's a very personal experience to us and maybe might seem like, why are you talking about this on the podcast? I'm really glad that we are, because I think it gives us a model of what interactions can be like,
Mm,
what the world can be like. If it's possible there, it is possible. That's
yeah.
it. We've just proven that it is. And that was very much my vision with this. It was an idea that started to foment, months ago as I continuously met people in the way that we met.
Yeah.
And I thought, what's the point of me just having them in my phone, with their special name? Because everybody who is on our frequency has their, like, I just call it soul journey, so that I know I can find easily all these people to then invite them. Why am I the connector? If I am, then I should be doing something with this. And that was, okay, let's start coming together, and just see what happens and see if it's true. And I, even when I wrote out the vision, it was about that feeling of instant recognition that you have when you really so aligned with someone,
Mm,
and it's just your soul speaking to each other. And I wanted to bring that into one room with those energies because we need that. That nourishes us.
yeah. Absolutely. As I said,
Yeah.
bouncing off the walls for you over the next few days.
Yes. I will say you were sparkling even more than my outfit. Ah.
I really was. I felt it, and it was just, it was so genuinely coming from within as well. I do in general. I'm an extrovert and I have a lot of
Yes.
high energy, but the difference this time was I was being fed by the crowd and the people around me rather than it just purely just radiating from within. It was like in all different dimensions. It was
Yes.
just a multi-dimensional like exchange of energies and radiation that
Ooh,
was just
ooh.
beautiful.
Yes, yes, and the way you said yes. And again, I can't help seeing the image of the magnet and those forces, like that energy exchange, and it's an infinite exchange. That's the beautiful thing, is that, when our frequencies, or, just think of a sound wave, right? Sound waves can amplify when they're in sync,
Mm,
or same with waves in the ocean, like or they can cancel when they're not in sync.
yeah,
And so
opposing.
the idea is that we amplify each other in that context. And it doesn't stop, and we expand, and then we take that with us. So the experiment worked.
It totally did. It totally did. It has created these ripples in my own life. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
interesting people that I met and I'm staying in contact with them, meeting afterwards. Ideas are flowing as well around like creative projects
Yes.
and
Also
Collaborations.
that what? Okay. You're blowing my mind right now because this was also the intention. I thought for sure things will be born at these soirees. I don't want to call it a party because it's almost too limited a term again for it. It's a place to connect.
Soiree is very
So,
appropriate.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call it something French sounding and it just sounds way fun.
Well, and also, actually, as it happened, all four of us who were setting it up were speaking French to each other beforehand. Yeah.
How many languages do you speak?
Well, I always feel like I'm showing off when I talk about this.
Oh, you totally and like own it.
Enough languages to get by.
Because that is a language that I wasn't aware that you spoke. I'm like, I feel like every time I see you in
There you
person,
go.
I hear a new language.
That tells you how modest I am. I don't know.
Okay, we'll throw French into the
Yes. All will be revealed. But speaking of revelation, I feel like it's time we should maybe. Do we feel complete on our qualities? Do we want to
yes,
go?
the
Do we?
last ones, yeah, definitely reflecting back, I think,
Yeah.
for me at least, on rage. And I guess I sort of started a sneak preview into what I'm calling in for the
Oh,
next one around careers. But no, yeah, we could maybe
yeah.
jump into.
All right. Well, I wanted to say one more thing on magnetism, which was that another thing I noticed happening. I've had people also affirm so even at that party, somebody said to me, "You are a pole of gravitational attraction," and that's literally like you could not describe magnetism any more
Yeah.
accurately. So that was a nice affirmation. And another thing I found happening is that people are spontaneously speaking to me in public places, just in not in a picking up kind of way, in a conversational kind of way. Like I was on a train and this couple were standing up next to me and talking, and then they just engaged me in their conversation. They sort of went, "Oh, and what do you think about this?" And it was so natural, as though we were friends forever. We just had a great chat. Same thing happened with this girl sitting across from me. We just ended up talking the whole time. And that is a phenomenon that I've definitely been calling in for a while. It's been certainly with the my kind of ultimate mission of, embodying love, uh something that I kind of expected and embraced the prospect of. But I thought that I would have to do it. And actually I've had also resistance to doing it. So talking to strangers, let's say, it's something that kept coming up for me. And I even had this whole almost like scenario that I wanted to involve people in that I'm not going to get into. But essentially, I just kept getting this message of, you need to talk to strangers. You need to go to people and show them the miracle of love and what it feels like and what it is. And then I just wouldn't. And I even would print little cards like this. I don't know why it's sitting in front of me, but that then I'll give them the card at the end, and it's also contrived. And then it just started happening in Magnetism Month, and it felt effortless, and it felt like they weren't strangers.
Yeah.
That's the other
No, they are,
interesting thing.
sir.
They are not. We're all brothers and sisters,
They are, yeah.
and so I that actually is quite huge for me. It's a huge affirmation that it's true, that love can completely erase those mental boundaries that we create, or those sort of identity, ego-based assumptions about who's a friend, who's a stranger,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm really excited for that. Probably more than anything else. I'm really excited for that type of exchange to continue, for that level of comfort, level of connection. So,
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that resonates because I just feel like I've been a lot of people say when you get older, it's so much harder to make friends.
mm,
Honestly, that has been the opposite of my
yeah,
experience over the last
yeah.
few weeks. I've been having such genuine, deep connections with people that I like a month ago would have called a stranger. There's so many, as you're speaking, I was just like, I've had so many, even somebody I'd gone on a date with, he lent a jigsaw to me because I was renovating my apartment. I'd been on one date with this person. He is the nicest human being. I said to him, I just want to be friends. And he still like drove halfway across London to bring me this beautiful, amazing jigsaw that like worked like a chef's knife. It was awesome. But, and then, I mean, these are some of the things I nerd over.
There
It's
she is.
passing wood.
There she is. Your inner redecorating. What would you call it? I don't know. DIY goddess.
I've become a carpenter through this whole thing. Like, I
All
wouldn't
right.
even call it DIY anymore. Like,
DIY. Seriously, as soon as I said it, I thought, ugh, that's just too trivial. No, this is where we need images of before and after to come up of your work because it is unbelievable. I still can't believe you did that more or less single-handed, but the moment you started to compare the jigsaw to a chef's knife, I felt you just stepped into that. Yeah.
but you know, the support of new people that have come into my life during this whole experience,
Mhm.
and even my neighbor who was, I mean, he is a very, very big man. And he is like carrying my bed pretty much single-handed. And just,
Wow.
it's just, I don't know, it's so beautiful how the right people come in at the right time as well. I guess it's all on the topic of timing is
Yes.
kind of resurfacing here. But people that, you know, and now they've become friends off the back of the synchronous connection, and then me asking for help and some support in some way. And in both those instances, men who typically are a carpenter and a bodyguard, those are the sort of very kind of masculine looking
Yeah.
figures in the conversation, so clearly are in touch with their feminine as well and able to be, you know,
Nice.
vulnerable and open, and just
Nice.
like the conversations, it was
Wow.
honestly been so refreshing to see that. And it shows how the divine feminine is also how she is sort of awakening
Yes.
in
Yes.
men as well. And
Yeah. And
so beautiful.
also, dare I say, because we must not forget that this whole thing came about because you're calling in the one. And it's not just that that's coming through in men, but also that you're now attracting men into your field who are more like that,
Yeah.
right? You are the change. You are always the common factor. And so I was just so delighted to hear you say that. Um, and funnily enough, it's exactly how I described my man to somebody the other day as the most alpha man you can imagine, but with spirituality in there
Yeah.
too, and a carpenter. So, yes, I think what you're describing is really just an indicator that you're shifting towards the one. He's on the way. He's definitely on the way, and these are just little harbingers of good things.
Friends, I mean, I'm calling in more than just, I mean, I am calling in the one, but, you know, community as well. And like, so, you know, friendships, connections,
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful souls and humans. It just makes life so much richer, you know, the people that we surround ourselves with. And yeah, so, I mean, it's been
It's abundant.
abundance. Yes. So yeah, super, super grateful.
So good. So good.
Uh,
So what quality?
Should we? Yeah, I mean, there was, I don't know if I should, but I had a very intense dream situation over the last few days, but I feel like we're going to run out of time, so maybe there's no point.
I'm so curious about your dream. You revealed a little bit when I saw you about the
Yes.
ancestors.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, I think I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to try and keep it relatively brief. So for me, what happens is my dreams become I lucid dream often. I have a very sort of strong connection to dreams in general, and they've been very powerful over the last week and a half. Every single night, just like messages coming through my subconscious, communicating to me. Um, but this is the first time I've had a dream where I felt like I was was having an ayahuasca experience. I like entered into a completely different dimension.
Wow.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, I immediately realized when I was in it, this is a different realm that I have not entered in my dreamlike state before, and I was fully lucid in it. And there's been a huge theme around my ancestors for me in this year in general. It sort of started in Brazil during a ceremony that I realized there was going to be a lot of connection and healing around. We had touched briefly on this as well, ancestral sort of past traumas, a connection with ancestors for me is particularly my Zulu ancestors. And I've been doing ceremonies back home in South Africa in an attempt to like connect with them. But they'd never shown up to me in such a literal sense, and they like showed up as people in my dream that I was able to communicate with directly in this dream. And it was just so beautiful for me to be like that, to see that I'm supported in more ways than
Mm,
just like in
yes.
this, I guess, in the spiritual realm, as well as, with the people around me
Yeah.
in this realm. And that's why when you said person, talking as a presence, like that word presence is a better word because it resonated, it reverberated through my entire body. There are so many more sort of dimensions and things that we don't see but that exist. And this entering this dimension and connecting with my ancestors in this way during my dream was just such a beautiful reminder that I'm held and supported. And really, their message to me was that they're there for me, that I will meet the one in perfect timing. And that, yeah, that was the biggest thing. I
Gosh.
just need to trust. I know.
Wow.
Yeah,
Robin, that's incredible.
I
That's
know. It
incredible.
was so beautiful.
Your
It was just,
ancestors literally showed up and told you that you would.
yeah, yeah. And it was, and in the last part of the dream, there was three different phases of it. In the last part of it, I was told that a snake was going to come and wrap itself around me, and I mustn't be scared because it will bite me in the end. And now I'm just afraid of being bitten. But I was like I lay there, the snake arrived. It was the most beautiful snake. It was green and just stunning. And I was confused because I feel like I should be scared of you, but you're so pretty.
Oh,
This is just revealing one of my values of beauty, of pretty
mm,
things, beautiful things. And there is just something about the snake that just also felt so, I don't know, safe, weirdly. But
oh,
I
wow.
was scared. I was scared of being bitten. But I lay there and I was still lying in my bed during this dream, even in the dream. So in the dream state. And the snake, so I was just like, okay, just you can come. And it started wrapping itself around my leg. And then I was waiting for it when it got to my toe. I closed my eyes, I was waiting for it to bite me. And then someone kicked me awake. That's what it
Oh,
felt like. And I didn't get bitten. That's weird. I don't know what that means. I immediately called my mom because she's the Zulu side of my family. And I told her about the dream. The moment she heard that it was a green snake, she was like, "Don't worry, that's one of your ancestors. It's somebody in the family. They just like they can't."
just
And I
wanted
was
to
like,
hang out and wrap it themselves around your leg. It's okay.
they bringing you good luck, and it's actually a very
Mm,
positive thing. And don't worry about it. It's not something to be afraid of if it's the snake is green. If it was black, different story, but it's a green snake. It's just one of your ancestors showing up as a snake, and it's nothing for you to worry about it. So that's why I felt so safe around the snake. I didn't feel like it was going to hurt me. And then that evening, your friend had a tattoo
yes.
of a snake wrapped around her arm, exactly like in my dream.
Robin, I am having chills again because um a couple of things. As soon as you described the snake and what it was going to do, I immediately thought about one of my favorite books, The Little Prince,
Hmm.
Le Petit Prince.
French book.
It's a book that I read out loud to every significant person in my life. And at the end, so the little prince is visiting Earth from his planet or asteroid that he lives on. And he, spoiler alert, he meets a snake at some point in his journeys, and the snake tells him, if you ever want to go back home, I'll send you back home. And he feels the same way about the snake as you do. He's like, there's a little bit of fear there, but there's also this strange sense of safety. And the snake says, I will bite you, and it will look like your body here is dying, but I'll actually send you back home. And so I thought, and it kind of is at his feet in the way that, yours was at your feet. And so this is a very, very strong archetype. I mean, it's incredible that you basically replicated that exact scenario. And
Yeah,
so, and so, but here's what's interesting is that I was waiting for the bite, and we also never die in our dreams. We can't, right? That's the eternal part of us anyway, that's having the experience. And the fact that instead of dying at the moment it was going to bite you, you woke up, right? If we consider that this metaphor of sending you home,
mm,
then you may well have woken up in the timeline of the one,
mm,
right? Because your ancestors came, they said this to you, that it was coming, and they are literally sending you there. And and the second thing, when you mentioned my friend and her tattoo, I thought how her name is Maya, and Maya is the veil of illusion of this reality. And so the snake was, in a way, sending you home beyond the veil, now into,
this reality, yeah,
this
this new phase,
this new world, this
yeah,
yeah. So
absolutely.
it's
Wow.
so amazing. It's amazing.
I know. It was, yeah, it's so beautiful. I'm so grateful for all of it. Yeah. I'm so grateful for my ancestors, and actually, interestingly enough, I have a Zulu shield right here behind us
Mm,
representing that. This is actually did not do this on purpose, I promise, but now that I realize this wall is like a lot of representation of my
yeah,
African heritage
yeah.
right here. And look at what I'm
I was gonna
wearing.
say, even I noticed it right away. I didn't comment in the beginning, but I thought, oh, interesting. We're both, we are both embodying something very different today from the last
Previous
time.
episodes, yeah, yeah.
So, but we can just leave that there and
Yeah.
contemplate it. Um,
Should we reveal our next quality for this new
yes,
moon cycle?
enough of the,
Da-da-da-dum. So, mine is divine grace.
no.
Grace and lightness. I guess that's how I'd written it. Is
What?
that yours? Is that yours?
Yes.
I I knew when you said that, when you started explaining and saying that at the beginning, I was like, no ways, we have the same one, don't we?
What? Oh,
We just like synchronized our
we have
cycles. Clearly.
completely, we've just, oh my, no, this is amazing. Also, because when I tell people about the fact that we chose the qualities and I'm explaining that, I say there was only one, maybe two, but
One
I
or
think
two, I think that we
there
had
was only,
overlap. Yeah.
possibly the other one was seduction. I have this vague
Yes,
memory.
I have that one. Definitely.
And
Yeah, yeah.
I thought seduction was going to come. I was sure. I felt it. I was like, oh, it's going to be seduction. Um, but then it was grace. And, oh,
Interesting that you actually felt that seduction was going to come up, because I was reading about the new moon in Taurus, and it's a lot about pleasure, seduction, those type of themes. So if you're feeling that, I think it is also a
it's
more
there.
astrological
It's there.
element in the air that's kind of coming for this new moon cycle. So don't completely ignore that gut feeling, because I feel like that is definitely like reverberating in the air generally at the
Oh,
moment.
good.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
My, oh,
So
it's so,
yeah,
it's
grace and lightness.
so worth this whole experience for that moment when you said grace, because I thought, you know what? there's no better affirmation of what we're doing and who we are than that right there.
Yeah. Because we just randomly pull it out of a hat now, and that's how we got.
Exactly,
And we got the same one, and
exactly.
it's not even that we near the end of it, right? This is just the third one, so we still
Yes,
have a whole lot more inside those balls.
we do. We do.
Beautiful. Wow. Okay, so
Yes.
exciting new moon cycle. We're cool where this is going to be a lot of this then if we're both calling in the same
Yes,
one.
double the grace. And by the way, grace has so many connotations. As soon as I drew it with my friend here. She was just sitting in that chair right there, and I was going through the cards because I always draw 3 cards as well as part of the ritual. And in fact, I didn't film it this time, so I have no evidence, but I do have a witness that it's grace. And we both kind of took a breath after I said grace because it is such a powerful word. And she said, yeah, grace is very powerful. And it has a connotation of receiving
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
definitely. Definitely a receiving one, and effortlessness and ease, and like this is something. I mean, when I pulled the card, it was after I'd written saying that I want to kind of show up in a more sort of with a lightness in this job instead of
Yes.
like,
Yes.
feeling anxious, feeling this, having to prove myself. And so when it came, I was just
Mm-mm,
like,
mm-mm.
this is exactly what I want to embody right now. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, looking forward to it.
So
And
much. So much.
as always, appreciate you very much. Love you lots.
Love you.